This episode is made possible by our sponsor, Landmark College, the college for students who learn differently, offering comprehensive supports for students with ADHD and other learning differences, both on campus and online. Learn more at lcdistraction.org.
Hello and welcome to Distraction. I'm your guest host, René Brooks. I've brought along a guest today, Dr. Debby Feinberg. Dr. Debby is the co-founder of Neurovisual Medicine and the director of clinical care at Vision Specialists of Michigan. Dr. Debby and I are planning a Facebook Live for November. So in preparation for that, Dr. Debby and I hopped on a call. And I was telling Dr. Debby about how I have a little bit of neck pain coming back. And for some reason, I was like, sounds have really been irritating me in a way that I don't remember them ever being like that before. But now they're really overwhelming and I'm getting headaches. And I'm like, maybe I just need to, maybe the neck pain is from me sleeping wrong. And Dr. Debby was like, well, let me tell you about this ear stuff. What is the ear stuff, Dr. Debby?
Well, here's what happens when you are a dizzy sorter, right? You're sorting dizzy, you're sorting headaches, you're listening again to what your patients have to say. And I will let you know that at least 50% of my patients are finding us after a head injury. It can be a fall on black ice, it can be fall off a horse, it can be heading a soccer ball, uh, motor vehicle accident, motorcycle accident. In the end, there's a multitude of ways that we can injure our head and our brain. And while we know after head injury that the eyes don't really work together, that's clear in our work. We've published 2 papers in brain injury journals. So we know the connection between vision and head injury. But as you can imagine, if you hit your head, well, the ears are not too far away. And so there are tiny, tiny bones in the inner ear. And things can happen like a tear or like a tiny hole that can change the way that sound is processed. And as I listened to patients over the years, I kept hearing them talk about sounds being too loud for them. So the story goes for me as a patient came in with a set of headphones to her eye exam. I'd seen her for years. I said, "Tell me about those headphones." And she said, "Well, I've been using them for a number of years. And by the way, this is helping me." And I said, "That's so interesting," but I didn't know what to do with the information, put it aside. I ended up getting a set of noise canceling earbuds and ended up deciding that I was going to experiment with them as patients were coming into the office. So a young man came in with a ball cap, with sunglasses, and I have a very quiet waiting room on purpose. I make sure everything's been dampened, all the extra sounds. And he comes in, he says, "You have the noisiest waiting room." I said, "Well, how
Wow.
interesting." I'm going to go get my earbuds. So I took them out and I put him on him, and he lifts off his ball cap and he takes off his sunglasses and he said, "The room is not as bright to me right now." And I said, "Wow, that's so interesting." And I'm just writing notes. And I said, "Would you mind keeping them on for the exam? Let's see what happens." At the end of the visit, he didn't want to give them back to me. So I said, okay, it is my first pair that I purchased, but you know what? I'm going to keep learning. I'm going to give them to you, but you have to promise me that we can talk once a week. And I need you to help me understand how they're helping you.
Yes.
So that was in 2016. And the exploration is only going further into how is sound playing a role. And I do believe in many of these cases, there is some very hidden head injury that we never thought mattered. And I will tell you my own little story is when I was a little girl, when I was 5, I fell flat on my face off of a bicycle. My nose bled for weeks. My mom was taking me to doctor after doctor, EENT, by the way.
Yes.
And finally, they had to cauterize the bleeding and it stopped. But I grew up in a family with 5 kids. There's 5 of us. And I always felt like my siblings talked way too loud. And I was always hiding in my room with a good book because I had to find a quiet place. And I
Yeah.
thought, that's just me, whatever. And when I began to make a connection between how to help these patients using these devices, I started trying them. I said, wow, this is so nice, so calming to my brain. And it made me also be able to relate to my patients in a way that I really couldn't personally, because I don't wear prism, but sound is never my friend when it's real loud.
Yeah.
And I'm now working with an actual surgeon who's seeing some of my patients, who's actually finding those holes and treating them. This is an out of state doctor, but just to say that when you look at a person with all these symptoms, you want to be up at that 30,000-foot view and really analyze every aspect of what they're going through so you can get them all the way better, not just partially.
This whole thing it's mind-blowing. It really takes you back and makes you think about all these experiences you've had in childhood. Just like you said, things you wouldn't think of. Like, yes, I did fall down the stairs when I was a child. Or, I always had a headache. I had headaches so badly that my fourth grade teacher was like, massage your head first before you go to the nurse, because this was almost a 4 or 5 times a week thing where I would have to go get Tylenol for these headaches. And ironically, that was when I got my first pair of glasses. And they discovered that I was farsighted is when, or is it nearsighted when you can see close up but not far away?
You
I
can
always mix
see
them up.
near. Yeah, that's nearsighted.
I'm nearsighted and I have astigmatism, which I understand is also connected to vertical heterophoria. Am I right?
Um, Astigmatism, anybody can have it, and they don't have to have vertical heterophoria. So astigmatism is just an out of roundness of the front surface of the eye,
Okay.
and you can be born with it. You can acquire it over time with a lot of close-up work, a lot of demands on the visual system. So it can be completely separate, just a
Okay.
script with astigmatism.
Okay, cool. So there is no connection there.
Correct.
Good to know. Where can we find you, Dr. Feinberg?
So my office is Vision Specialists of Michigan, and we are in Bloomfield Hills, Michigan. And the beautiful part about my work is that I'm not the only one doing it.
Yes.
And when I used to have patients get on planes or trains or buses, I was happy and sad. Happy that they found me, but sad because it meant they had to travel far to get to the office. So my ultimate goal is to really train. There are 30,000 optometrists in the country. We have 31 trained. We have a lot of work to do, and I am up for the task of making sure that we can at least train a doctor in every state, if not more, and just move this work outside of our Michigan office. So right now they can go to Vision Specialists in Michigan and look up the search term doctors on our website. They'll see the map of the US, and outside the US, they'll get a list of our 31 doctors. So at least it's a starting point. So they know that once they fill out that questionnaire, they'll be able to go to a doctor closer to their home.
Phenomenal. Phenomenal. Thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much to Dr. Debby Feinberg for joining me today. You can learn more about Dr. Debby at vision-specialist.com and at nvminstitute.org. Please reach out to us and let us know what you think. Record a voice memo or write an email and send it to connect@distractionpodcast.com. Distraction is created by Sounds Great Media. Our producer is Sarah Gurton. I'm René Brooks. You can find me at blackgirllostkeys.com and on Twitter at blkgirllostkeys. Until next time.
The episode you just heard was made possible by our sponsor, Landmark College, the college for students who learn differently, offering comprehensive supports for students with ADHD and other learning differences, both on campus and online. Learn more at lcdistraction.org.